Hi guys, welcome to or welcome back to the channel. My name is Dorothy. I am an international student pursuing my PhD in Canada, and in today's video I want to tell you what my experience was at the immigration when I was coming into the country and some of the questions that the immigration officer asked me to let them know if I am eligible or I'm the right person to be given my study permit. Now you should know a study permit is a document that allows us to, it gives us status in the country that we are students and we are permitted to engage in studying. As part of the information on your study permit, they say that you are allowed to work, but in a setting, so not like working as somebody who has a work permit. So there are hours, you have hour restrictions as a student, and so all of that information is part of your study permit. I'll leave a picture of one on here so you understand what I'm talking about. It's different from the visa. So you do a visa application, then you get a pass more or less to be able to come into the country, and you'll also be given an introduction letter. Yes, an introduction letter that says okay, so they have made a decision for your visa, but then it will be left for the immigration officer at the port of entry to allow you to enter into the country by issuing you your study permit and giving you access to the country. So they would make the final decision, and it depends on how well you're able to answer certain questions, how well you're able to prove certain things, and the documents that you have on you, how well you're able to prove certain things in a general sense. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So before I left the country, I watched a few YouTube videos, and then they explained okay, so these are the things that you need to prepare for. So you have certain documents that you have. Your introduction letter should be printed and be with you. You should have copies of your educational documents. Your passport, of course, should be with you, and if there are any other documents that you need, maybe your admission letter, funding letter, any documents that you used to apply for the online portal for your study visa, you should have copies of them on you, hold it. So I had to print my bank statements, because if they asked me and maybe your phone is off, how are you going to show it to them? So you just have to have the hard copies with you. So yes, when I got to the port of entry, so I did my research, got all my documents ready, then I made it to Canada. So I traveled, got my visa, everything, multiple checks on the way just to make sure that I'm the right person going in, or you have the right documents to come into the country. I landed in Canada, and straight from the plane we were directed to a part where we're supposed to do a self-checking sort of something, and so no self-declaration. So we declare our arrival, blah blah blah. If you have any meat in your bag, you declare it there, then you get a cheat, then you form a queue, and then they direct you to where the immigration is. We're told to go to a certain room, and then later they said no, that's a wrong room, we should go to another room. So we went to the second room, and then we formed a queue. So this is really interesting because you are so close to the teller, or the immigration officer. So when they're asking other people questions, you are able to hear what they are asking them, and you have to also be like, okay, do I have this? So when they ask for this document, you have to be like, oh, do I have this? And I just check. So that's what was happening. It is really scary though, because you've already made it to the country, and any mistake you do, they'll just say go back to your country. You're gonna be crazy. So yes, I got to the place. There was this Ghanaian guy in front of me, and he was being asked a few questions. He was answering it. They gave you, then they asked him one question, and then I think there was an issue with his proof of funds, because he didn't have it printed, so he had to now access it on his phone, and it was a bit causing a little delay. So that one immigration officer asked another one to come and join him. So now there were two people in front of him. I was like, God, please, I don't want to go to these two people, please, there's somebody here. So there was this other lady. She was like, oh, next person should come. So I walked in with my file, because I had everything in a file, in my blue file, this blue file. I had everything inside, this blue cute file. So they asked me my name. So I was like, okay, I'm Dorothy Marina Boachi. Okay, see, when they ask you, just answer what they ask you. If they say what is your name, you don't have to go into like a song telling them about your life, like my name is Dorothy Marina Boachi, I'm a YouTuber. No, they've not asked you that. So answer the question they've asked. That's all. So what is your name? I mentioned my name. And in some cases, they said they can ask you what your student ID is, because you said you're a student, so you should know your student ID. Thankfully, I wasn't asked that, but just know that sometimes they can ask you. Then the first question was like, why the university? Why Trent University? I was like, oh, so I was looking for like a place to do my PhD, and then I saw that they had a very interesting like program, the environmental and life science program, and there's just this specific supervisor that I wanted to work with. I've been following his work, I've been following his research, and I actually used most of his work for my master's thesis, and so I wanted to work under his supervision more or less. So that is why I chose Trent, because first the supervisor, second because their program seemed very interesting and aligns with what I want to do in future, which is like to do research in stable isotopes analysis. Like I'm going into this, but I mentioned all of that. She was like, okay. So next thing was proof of funds. So she was asking me that, okay, what do I have like to show that I'm able to take care of myself in Canada? So I showed her a printout of my current bank balance at the time of the entry into the country. So I had like I printed that out for her. Then I showed her I already did like a presentation of the money that I have plus the money I would receive from my scholarship, and I also included my funding letter. So I showed her all of that, and there was this place she didn't understand, so I had to explain that, okay, so for the first year I'm expecting to get this amount of money from the school, but I'm supposed to, according to the IRCC, that I'm supposed to have 20,600 Canadian dollars, like to prove that I'm able to take care of myself for the entire year. So if you are doing a 4-year program, they just want to know that you are able to do like take care of yourself, pay school fees and buy groceries, living expenses, all of that for the first year. So that was for the 20,600. Before I came it was 10,000, but they changed the policy, so it became 20,000. So I had to explain to her that, okay, so this is the amount of money I'm getting from the school for the year, and this is the amount of money I'm entering the country with. So when we calculate it, and thankfully, if you have euros, it's more money, like you get more Canadian dollars with less euros. So because I was coming from Portugal, it was easier. I was like, okay, so I have total of 21,600, so I'm above the required amount. So she was like, okay. So that's funds, proof of funds. So I had to explain that. Then accommodation, she was like, so where will I be staying? Have I already settled accommodation? And at that time I had a friend of mine already in Canada, is already like a student at my university, had already we already paid for my accommodation where I'll be staying. So the house I'm staying in now already paid for my first and last month. So I had the proof from him. He sent it to me, like it was an email that, okay, you've paid for this person, Dorothy Marina Boachi, and she'll be staying in this place. And I also had my rental contract. So I signed a contract with the people I'm renting with that I'll be staying for a year, and so I had also that hard copy. So I showed her the email screenshots of the email that shows that this person has paid for me to stay in this house, and I've paid for my first and last rent. And I also had a contract, so I showed it to her, and she saw that's the name of where I'll be staying. So my street, my address is the same with what the email is saying. So okay, that was also done. Then she was asking me, she asked me why I'm coming from Portugal. So why am I coming from Portugal? I'm Ghanaian. Why am I coming from Portugal? So I had to explain to her that I already had, like, I was doing a master's in Portugal under the Erasmus Mundus program. And so I had finished my program and I was volunteering in a city in Portugal. And so that is why I'm coming from Porto, then Lisbon, into Canada. So I went there to do my master's. I finished and I was volunteering, and then it was time for me to come to school, and so I came directly from there because I've been there for the past 3 years. Okay, so that was also like one of the questions she asked. And then she was like, do I plan on traveling? At that time, I think she had already decided that she's gonna give me my study permit because I was going to do a PhD. I'm able to explain why I chose Canada and why I'm choosing my university. I've been able to show her that I have enough money to take care of myself, and I've been able to like secure accommodation already, even though I wasn't in the country. And so it's like I've passed. One of the early things she asked for is my introduction letter. So when you finish your application and then they approve it, and when they approve, so technically it's like they don't approve it, they just give you like something to allow you to enter the country. It's like they've made a decision that we will possibly give it to you, but it will depend on what will happen at the port of entry. Maybe there are certain things that they are not able to pick up because it is just like a no contact application process, but it's the immigration officers that will now feel you to see, are you lying to us, or are you being truthful? Are you going to be a liability to us, or are you going to be helpful to us, more or less? Do you get it? So the introduction letter, when they finish like saying that, okay, so it has been approved, technically approved, they will give you your passport back with something in your passport, like I'll not call it a visa because it's technically not a visa, but it's like maybe an electronic travel permit, more or less, that is placed in it. So you show that when you're entering this thing, but you also have to have your introduction letter. That introduction letter would allow you to enter the country. Let me see if I have my introduction letter. So I found it. So it's just one paper, and so it just says, okay, so one of the things they've written on it is, bring this letter of introduction with you to Canada. It has information that may be used by the Canada Border Service Agency to issue your study permit. So she asked me for this paper first. So you write your name, your address, and then what else? So they say your application to study in Canada has been initially approved by Immigration, Refugee and Citizenship Canada. The final decision to issue your US study permit and allow you to enter Canada is made after an examination by an officer in Canada. At that time, an officer will assess if you still meet the requirements of the Immigration and Refugee Protection Act and its regulations and any other Canadian legislation. Then they'll say, okay, so documents you should bring. So there's a documents number, blah blah blah. I can't show all of you this because it's personal, that's personal information. But documents you must bring, they say bring your passport, bring a valid temporary residence, or the electronic travel authorization. That's what's in there. That's what they place inside. And some other documents. They are saying this letter, and they give like disclaimer, this letter is not going to let you stay in the country. This is not what will allow you to stay in the country, but this will help them print out what you need to stay in the country, which is the study permit. I like you guys, you are very, very attentive. But yeah, so the introduction letter was like one of the major things that she asked me for. She took that and then she asked the other questions. That's all for today's video. I'm just grateful to God that I didn't have any like a stressful experience at the immigration stage. You just have to follow all the rules. Do not, when they say don't bring certain things into the country, please do not bring. That's why you have to do research before you enter the country. Just follow all the rules. Do not go and be like very rowdy there. You have to be very gentle at that point, because the person can just like one mistake and they'll be like, see, go back to your country. We don't want to deal with this now, maybe next year, but not now. So yes, just be mindful and be careful when you are at the port of entry. Just be truthful. Do not go and then carry lies. Don't go and lie. Just be honest there. Speak to the people. They're just human beings. I know when I was there, I was really scared. I was afraid because I was scared that maybe I would make a mistake or something. But I just have to believe that, you know, if you deserve to be in a country and if it's God's will, you're going to be able to enter the country. But yeah, just prepare and then be honest. And that, I think that's all for I think that'll be all for this video. I think I've just been yapping so much, but thank you so much for watching the video. I'm really excited you did watch to this point. If you did watch, please leave a comment, maybe leave like a emoji of a flower, any of the flowers there, or just tell us what your experience was. If you've traveled out of the country, or if you are planning on traveling, just let us know what your experience has been at the port of entry. And yeah, let's share knowledge in this community. As offbeaters, we are very kind-hearted and we have to share information. So guys, remember to always stay awesome, stay different, and stay offbeat. Bye.